Parents, Paw Patrol The Mighty Movie is coming to theaters on September 29th. When a magical meteor crash lands in Adventure City, it gives the Paw Patrol pups superpowers. Holy smokes. But things take a turn for the worse when Humdinger breaks out of jail to steal their superpowers. Oh dear. Will the mighty pups be able to save Adventure City before it's too late? Oh, mark your calendars to see Paw Patrol The Mighty Movie in theaters on September 29th.
Hello, Critter Protectors. Mr. Jim here, and welcome to Kids Animal Stories, a place where there's always a mystery and adventure around every single corner. If you love critters of all shapes and sizes, I need you on our Critter Protector team. Join our adventure as we learn about critters from around the world and in our backyards. Well, my friends, are you ready for today's adventure? Me too, let's go!
Hello, my Critter Protectors, and welcome to another episode. Well, this is not your average episode. This is a mystery story, which means I'm not going to tell you who our main character is, Graham. You're going to have to listen carefully to all the clues and try and figure out what kind of critter that Graham is. In the heart of Uganda, a country in Africa way up in the mountains, Graham was busy running and jumping and playing with his friends. Come and get me, Cora! Come and get me, Gia! He shouted as he swung up a nearby tree. Graham liked staying busy. Even with the nights getting colder in the mountains, it didn't bother him. His thick black hair kept him nice and warm. So did all of his running around. When you run around, does it help you stay warm if it's cold outside? Yep. That's pretty special about us mammals. Oh, wait. I wonder if that means this mystery critter is a mammal as well. You're too fast for us, his friends shouted back. Cora slowed down to sit and catch her breath. She pulled herself up on a low branch and started munching on some leaves. Gia swung up on her mama's back to take a little rest. Gia was the youngest of the friends and a lot smaller than Graham. She was still very much dependent on her mother. Graham had just turned 5 years old, and this meant he was getting closer and closer to, well, adulthood. He wasn't really that excited about this because he would much rather keep playing all day, eating roots and fruit whenever he wanted, without a care in the world. But his mother told him all children have to grow up sometime. Graham nestled down with his mom in their nest, up in the trees that night. And began to think about what his mom had said. Maybe if I had a better reason than just because, it would be more fun. I just don't want life to become boring. Graham closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep. Have you ever wanted to stay a kid forever? Yeah, sometimes growing up and having more responsibilities seems like it won't be nearly as fun as being young. Well, after what seemed to be seconds, Graham woke up. He was startled. His mother was shaking him, and she had an urgency sound in her voice that he had never heard before. Graham, wake up. You need to listen to me. There's something dangerous down below, and we need to leave now. She looked him in the eyes, and he knew she wasn't joking. Okay, Mom, he replied and quickly followed her. As they climbed down their tree, Graham heard a loud "Aww." He'd never heard his leader call out with such a terrible warning signal. They got to the ground and Graham's entire troop had the same urgent look. Silverback, their leader, motioned ahead, and they all quickly rushed through the trees and bushes. It was so dark, and if Graham didn't have his mother right in front of him, he'd surely be lost. Behind him, he could hear strange calls and lots of sounds. He heard rumbling and saw lights like fire flickering in the trees. He had no idea what it was that they're running from, but he didn't want to know either. After covering a lot of land, the troop started to slow down. Graham hadn't said a word the entire time, and he tried to listen to his mother, who was whispering to the other mothers. It was silent behind him now that they'd run for so long. When the troop finally stopped, Graham's mother made a quick nest on the ground and told him to try and settle down to sleep. As tired as he was, he was still really worried.
Mom, what was that? What was that back there? I heard so many sounds.
Graham hoped his mother would at least tell him something more about it. Graham, it's something I hoped you wouldn't have to experience yourself. We will talk about it more in the morning. Just try and rest now. You are safe. She tried to assure him, but Graham wasn't really feeling much better about it. Graham could hear whimpering and other sounds from his troop, telling him they were all very afraid too. Just as he thought maybe things would be okay and he could sleep, he started to hear counting. A group of adults kept counting and recounting.
27, 28. We're missing some,
Silverback said. Graham's troop was quite large, 30 altogether, including their leader, Silverback. If they stopped counting at 28, that means there were more than just one missing. Graham knew this nightmare was far from over, but he didn't want to sit back and watch. He needed to do something, but what? Who went missing? Will Graham help find the missing troop members? And what kind of critter is Graham and his whole family and troop? Troop. I feel like I've heard that name before to describe a group of animals. Have you? Well, there were many clues and I'm not sure who he is yet. But we are going to have to wait and see what happens on the next adventure of Kids Animal Stories. Great job, you listened all the way to the end, and it's time for some Critter Protector shoutouts. I want to say to Caden and Evan from Pennsylvania, Estella from California, Evan and Ella from Missouri, JC from California, and Philip from Illinois. I'm so glad that you're all Critter Protectors. We could not protect all the critters in the world and in our backyards without you, my friends. Well, you have a super duper day, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Bye!
Hey parents, home is a place to laugh, learn, and play, and a place where everyone should always feel safe. That's why at Kidda, we believe that protecting children from house fires is everyone's cause. Join us in our mission to help families everywhere learn about fire safety so we can help keep children safe at home and ensure lots more laughs in the future. Learn about the importance of smoke alarms and creating your own home fire safety plan by visiting causefораlarm.org.